This is the PWR at the movies. Join the Professor, Tommy Wonder, and JB as they break down the greatest moments in pro wrestling on TV and, of course, at the movies.
What is going on there, Reflectionites? We are back. It is the show of shows. It is the most nostalgic show on the pod beams. It is the most nostalgic show in the IWC. Yes, we took a little break. Yes, because real life work situations, as I like to say, situations happen. The professor has got to do his real life work situations. TW's got to do his real life work situations. He's got to travel 150 miles from Detroit to Chicago. I got to do things for my job, my real life job. But during that hiatus, during that time, we were wheeling and dealing. And right now, it is the weekend, and right now, we're on the PWHustle.podbeam. No, the PWHustle networks at podbeam.com. But also, we are debuting on the Big Vito brand at patreon.com. We are debuting on bigvitobrand.wixsite.com. It is their first show of the PWR podcast. But for the Magnificent 7, the Elite 8, the Naughty 9, the Terrific 10, the Tumultuous 12, everybody, Michael Davis, John McHugan, DeMarco, Dippin' Donuts, Gooch of Thunder, you know who you are. Philip Scott Wood, Donna Destruction. I know, Don, you're taking a little vacation. I haven't heard from you in a while, but you know me. You are the number one Magnificent 7 member, but I always got to shout you out. Every Magnificent 7 member that's been with us from Hami Media to the PWS Networks and now to Big Vito Brand TV, BigVitoBrand.com. Welcome to the Pro Wrasslin Reflection podcast, the PWR. At the PWS Networks at podbeam.com. And it is I, moi, the sexiest stud muffin of all, the sexiest host, the magnanimous one, the effervescent one, but most importantly, the glorious one, that Professor Chabel Veracruz, welcoming you to episode 6, because we're going back to the movies. We're doing it big for Big Vito Brand TV. Well, not Big Vito Brand TV, but Big Vito Patreon. You know what I'm saying. And I'm not here alone with the shrimp cocktails. I'm not here alone with the vodka and cranberries. I'm not here alone with the hookers and the drugs and the coke. I am here with the man with the iron stomach, the dum-dum duo man himself, the conservative liberal, Mr. Wonderful, Tommy Strong, a.k.a. the Tommy Wonder. Welcome back, man. How you doing?
Hey, is this the end of February already?
No, this is the end of January, and we're beginning the February. This is Black History Month, and you are the blackest man I know. What's going on, man?
I remember. I'm black from the waist down. I remember you telling me a week ago, "Hey, man, we're off until the end of February." And here we are. Apparently, February is spelled January, but here we are. And listen, I want to pop you immediately. Anybody who's listened to our show over the years, at least these last year and a half, anybody who knows, I don't usually have anything nice to say about AEW. Not that I don't like, them to succeed. I want them to succeed. It's just not for me. But guess what I bought today?
What did you buy today, TW?
I collect, right? I collect belts, action figures. The only guy I like in AEW, the only guy I think is WWE ready, at least NXT ready. Here he is. You got a guess? I've said it on the show before.
Hangman Adam Page.
You know me so well.
Of course, man. I've known you for a couple of years here, man.
I went to Target like I do all the time on the figure hunts, and I found this, which I've been looking for. My very first Elite Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then I found the only AEW figure they had on the shelf I think I saw AEW at a Walmart when they first came out for Series 1. I wish I'd have bought them because they're all going for like $50 to $100. But I actually like Hangman Page. If you look at his figure and you put it up next to the Austin, the AEW figures are exactly the same as the WWE Elite figures. The articulation is in the same places. I believe it to be intentional. So if I did open the Elites, I could actually have an intergender, or well, I guess intergender too, as I got some girl figures. But
Interpromotional.
Promotional match, Hangman Page, who I believe, this is funny, he reminds me of not Diamond Dallas Page, Dolph Ziggler. And then Dolph Ziggler's brother is wrestling on AEW now. So it's funny to me. But I really like Adam Page. I think I think when I watch AEW, he's a big fish in a small pond. I know the people are going to listen to that and be insulted by it, but I think he's the guy they should have built around because all the hype was about Cody, the Bucks, Omega, obviously Jericho being there, and then Dean Ambrose. But Hangman could have been their homegrown guy.
Well, to be fair, the Magnificent Seven already knows this, but the Big Vito brand, the new audience, they don't know TW's takes on All Elite Wrestling. So we are introducing the Big Vitoites out there to TW's interpretations of All Elite Wrestling. Go ahead, my friend.
I feel like Adam Page was their guy. He obviously he did stuff in New Japan, but he's not the guy everybody talks about. It's Omega, Cody, the Bucks. This guy could have been their what's it called, blue chip guy. He could have been the guy. And again, it looked like they were going to do that. But he lost in the finals to Jericho, right? For Jericho to be the first champ. And so, and I get it. There's probably some thought that they made their buddy the champ. Whatever. Because everybody second guesses everything. Everybody's an armchair booker. But I really like Adam Page. I think I've said it on the show before. I think he's going to be the guy when his contract's up who's going to be the first AEW guy to leave and go to NXT. I think the other guys are locked too long.
Time will tell, TW. Time will tell. But, loyalty is a son of a bitch. So if he's loyal to the cause of AEW, he will still be there. But anyway.
But like Big Brother, if you're in the Elite 8 Alliance, somebody's number 8.
Of course.
When you get down to it, you're out, and he's number 8 in the Elite.
We know the hierarchy, TW. There's no doubt about that, and he's on the lower tier. But you know what? Leave that for Big Vito. Leave that for all the people that talk about the 2020 wonders. We are here to talk about the nostalgic stuff for the Big Vito people. The PWHustle network people, they already know what we do. We combine the past with the present and the future. But now for the Big Vitoites out there, we're introducing you to the PWR podcast. And you know what? While we are on hiatus, I thought we should give them something that we're very, our favorite segment to me is going to the movies. We love to talk about wrestlers, in certain movies. We love to talk about certain wrestlers in television shows. And we're going to be doing that in the foreseeable future because I got a lot of shows. We know that Hulk Hogan did a lot of bad movies, and we're going to talk about it here when PWR goes to the movies. But you know what, TW? For the Big Vitoites out there and for the PWHustle network people, for the Magnificent Seven, I wanted to go back to the movies because I wanted to pay homage to a show that could have been. To a show that had so much untapped potential, in the professor's opinion, and no reflection. I'm not drunk when I say this, when we're going to talk about this show, because I thought, for the times, this came out in 1990 or 1991 per se, and this was the perfect synergy of the shows you saw on NBC, like Hunter, the shows you saw on CBS, like Magnum PITW, the shows you saw on ABC, like Moonlighting, to a degree, or like Vegas, or whatever those kind of shows. On which one?
Hardcastle McCormick.
Okay, I'll give you that one too. So we here for episode 6 of PWR at the Movies are going to do the show, the pilot, starring Jesse the Body Ventura and Rowdy Roddy Piper. It was called Tag Team, TW. And the concept of the show, which was created by an executive producer's son, who was 6 years old at the time, said, Daddy, because the 6-year-old was a great WWF fan. He was back in the rockin' wrestling era, back in the late 80s when the WWF was at its phoenix, the juggernaut. Everybody knew about Hulk Hogan. Everybody knew about, Thunderlips. Everybody knew that Hulk Hogan did the A-Team. But we have to give homage to the two wrestlers in the 80s that were real pioneers for Hollywood acting. I mean, we got to give homage to Jesse the Body Ventura, who did not really play a wrestler in Predator. He played a Navy SEAL Green Beret guy. We got to pay homage to Rowdy Roddy Piper for getting that. We already did an episode of PWR at the movies with They Live, being a leading actor wrestler, not playing a wrestler. Of course, Roddy Piper did Body Slam, but we'll get to that at a future time. Reflection Nights, don't worry. But again, TW, talk about these two guys here, because right now, this show, this pilot, is almost like this is the blueprint. They're the pioneer. They're the ones they're the Harriet Tubmans, because this is Black History Month. They were on the Underground Railroad for wrestlers, really expanding their portfolios. A lot of people, again, will give Hulk Hogan the credit, but again, when you do No Holds Barred, it's not a big stretch. So Hulk Hogan did, he did A-Team. It wasn't a stretch. He played himself. And of course, you do the Regis and Kathy Lee stuff. You do all those promotional stuff. But Jesse the Body Ventura and Roddy Piper wanted to be actors. They want to be part of the SAG card thing. They wanted to unionize themselves. They want to be part of that club. Talk about what they contributed to Hollywood for wrestling.
And the good thing is maybe not so much Piper as Ventura. Also new to the Big Vito brand, but everyone who's listened to our show over the years knows I'm not a big Jesse the Body Ventura guy. But I will say this: the guy took it serious, and just little things like if you watch it, if you guys go on YouTube and look it up, it's worth a watch. 58 minutes, you'll never get back, but you'll enjoy it just for the McDonald's commercial. But Jesse is the straight man. Like he knows the formula. He's the straight man. Piper's the dumb jock / burnout silly guy.
Wait. You think Jesse was the straight man here? I thought both of them had these one-liner jokes that both of them had to bounce off of each other.
Right, but he was the straight man, meaning like he let Piper shine. Like he let Piper do the cheesy stuff and let Piper, do all that stuff. And it's funny because you look at it, this is going to be right up your alley, how you get those dudes sliding in your DMs. Jesse Ventura is actually a pretty good-looking dude when he covers his head. And I've never understood why he let that horseshoe grow in and had a ponytail. Because if he'd have shaved his head bald, I think he would have had better option. He was bald ahead of his time. Stone Cold kind of made that a thing in 96, 95, whatever. But he just, when he had the hat on, when they go to the police academy and everything, you look at him like he's got leading man looks if he has hair, right? Like he kind of has that same structure. Like who's the guy that plays Harvey Dent in the Batman movies? I'm talking about. He's in Any Given Sunday. He's the coach. He's got the butt chin, the jawline. Whatever.
Well, I remember Tommy Lee Jones playing
no.
Two-Face.
The most recent Harvey, where he flips the coin and his face melted off because of the Joker.
I know who you're talking about.
Aaron Eckhart.
Oh, okay.
So he's got that Hollywood, like that throwback jawline, whatever. But I like to take it serious, and you said something about the 6-year-old kid. That's something I found out after when the YouTube video ended. It landed on a podcast, I think, that Jesse did, and he interviewed Piper, and they talked about tag team. And Jesse called Piper. Jesse got Piper booked because he was brought in for it, and he called Piper because he wanted someone, A, that he knew could act because They Live, and B, who in the ring could take care of himself and knew what he was doing like Jesse. And that's why he called Piper. And I believe you said it. There was no egos, no nothing. It was you that said it, I think. But this show was picked up for 13 episodes, and at the last second, they got put on hiatus because Disney was being sued. Otherwise, it was going to air. They spent $1 million on a set. They brought in the writers from Magnum PI, which is ironic that you would bring that show up, and they were going to go for it. And I think when you look at it with our eyes in 1991, it's adequate. In 2020 Wonder, not so much. It's funny to me, and I blame YouTube. It looks like it was made in 1982. It actually looks older than Hunter or Remington Steele. It looks like they recorded it with a guy that had one of these cameras, the little hand crank, because it just looks old. I don't understand it. But
I get it.
The girl is on there.
No, I get what you're saying, because it looks old and gritty and grungy or grungy or all that. But
it's very Hill Street Blues, the guy with the mouse in his pocket.
Right, but for the times and for the shows that I said, Magnum PI, and you said it, Remington Steele and Hunter, this is a perfect setup. This is so simple that, like I always say in my PWHustle stuff with my All Elite Perspectives, simplicity. That's all you need, TW. These are ex-wrestlers turned into cops. And they didn't want to go into that full A-team being mercenaries, so they try to do it the straight and narrow. And the funny thing is, TW, let's talk about this episode in depth, because the first thing you see here is, it's Rick MacDonald. This is the funny names. Rick MacDonald.
Rick.
Say what?
Tricky Rick MacDonald.
Pretty Ricky MacDonald, whatever.
Tricky. Like it's Tricky. Run DMC. Tricky.
Tricky Rick MacDonald is played by Piper, and Bobby Youngblood played by Jesse the Body Ventura. And the first thing you see, Bobby the Body, he couldn't like let that go. He had to be the Body for some reason. Bobby the Body,
jacket. And he had to wear his jacket.
That too. But the first thing we see with Piper and Jesse the Body Ventura is they're in the locker room, and Piper is stretching Jesse the Body Ventura. And if nobody watches wrestling, it looks like he's ass raping Jesse the Body Ventura. TW, talk about that, please. This is the first impression of a show. This is the debut episode of Tag Team.
I thought he had a abdominal stretch, and I thought, what the hell is he doing the abdominal stretch in the locker room for? But that back issue comes in later on in the show too, in one of their comedy bits.
I know. We understand this as wrestling fans. We know as hardcore wrestling fans, you got to stretch out, before the matches. But your first impression as a casual fan, your first impression as a fan of, maybe action series and stuff like that, you're seeing ass raping, man. You're seeing locker room, male on male ass raping.
This is what sliding in the professor's DMs look like. I see now. I see it.
If you call it Professor sliding in the DMs, this is an analogy, or this is the picture. Yes, see Tag Team.
You're the Body. You're Jesse the Body, and then
no.
Dude
I am Roddy Piper. I'm giving it, not receiving it. But anyway,
then Jesse the Body's the dudes that slide into your DMs. I got you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take that. But anyway, we start this, but the first, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes of the episode, we concentrate on the wrestling part, because that's where their bread was buttered. And finally, after all these years, TW, again, they try to make wrestling real. They try to make wrestling into that real life sport. They work so hard for the tag team championships, but yet behind the scenes, while he's getting ass raped, they're having a meeting with Shannon Tweed, who is the female Vinnie Mac, or the female Tony Khan. And she says, or Dixie Carter, and she says to both Piper and Ventura, you must take a dive. But they don't want to take a dive. TW, again, being in the business like yourself, we got to talk about this. We already knew sport. We already knew the term sports entertainment. We already knew Vince McMahon let the cat out the bag, during these news episodes.
After this.
No, before this.
No, he let it out of the bag in 93, 94.
Well, in court, with court documents, but there was NBC News specials. I saw this in the 80s. He let it out the bag of sports entertainment. He let it out the bag in like 2020 series. So I knew it in the 80s.
I like how they did it, because to me, as a wrestler, I looked at it as a way of them covering, like laying cover, to explain why someone who should win loses. because of a promoter. You know, it happens in boxing too. Legit.
Of course.
Like, hey, you're gonna lose, dude. By the way, if you don't lose, you're never boxing again. And then those dudes end up with their hands cut off in an alley somewhere. That shit happened in boxing in the '80s still. So I like that they did that, because to me it was kind of like I said, laying cover for the business. And I mean, two guys who basically, if we're being honest, they're looking for their ticket out of the wrestling business. You know what I mean? This is 91, so they got to each be at least pushing 40, halfway to 40 from 35 at least, maybe even older for Ventura. But they could have easily been like, fuck it, let's expose wrestling, you know, and we'll get some clout for doing that on a TV show. But they didn't. Just like learning the ropes with Bob Golick. He didn't expose the business on learning the ropes. He made it out like he was a teacher in the daytime and a wrestler at night, but he was wrestling for real to win money and do whatever. I always respect that. And so, you know what? We're going to tie it to current wrestling in AEW again. But Ventura and Piper could have bit the hand that fed them and didn't. Whereas that's my problem with AEW is Cody Rhodes, the very first chance he got, bit the hand that fed him, you know, and the sledgehammer and all that. And yes, it wasn't Triple H that made him. It was the WWE, but that was a shot at the WWE. And that's why I have the you know, reservation for getting behind them, because I don't like people that bite the hand that feeds them.
Right. And looking at this, yeah, I can respect Ventura and Piper keeping it kayfabe here, keeping it real with Shannon Tweed saying, you know, you're going to lose tonight. And they didn't want to lose. They wanted to win. They worked so hard. And Shannon Tweed, you know, the Me Too movement happened in 1991 because she said, I'm going to yell rape. I'm going to yell that you made a pass at me with her promoter husband or whatever. Half promoter, whatever. But anyway, let's get into the match itself, because, you know, this was a great match. It was right. They didn't have a tag team name, did they? All I remember is Youngblood and MacDonald. That was it.
They just introduced them as a tag team. Yeah, there's two guys.
And they went up again. And you know that they were part of the WWF family because, of course, Vinnie Mac, you know, co-signed letting the Orient Express, a.k.a. the Samurai Brothers, and Mr. Fuji be on this pilot episode. So, of course, there was a great relationship, you know, with Vince McMahon and this production company, and, you know, extending the olive branch to both Ventura and Piper, because they were part of this WWF family to do this. So you got to give credit where credit is due to Vinnie Mac. You know, everybody always likes to shit on Vinnie Mac. He could have said no, get some stunt man, get some whatever, you know, get another wrestler from the NWA or, you know, AWA that was going out of business or world class. But he extended the olive branch to offer the Orient Express or the Samurai Brothers. What say you about Vinnie Mac? The ring announcer voice was Mean Gene, but it was lip synced.
Yes,
which was it was some jabroni, and it didn't make no sense. I'm like, why is Mean Gene's voice there, but the guy doesn't match the voice? I was like, what the hell is wrong?
The only thing I can think of, Gene wasn't a ring announcer, so to have him ring announcing when really that's not what he is, maybe Vince didn't want that.
Well, maybe Vince didn't want his likeness, or maybe there were scheduling conflicts or something like that. But no, Mean Gene did ring announce in the AWA. He did ring announce in early.
Not in WWF. I'm saying he was their new.
No, he did. No, he did. He did in the in '83 and '84 and '85. He did the ring announcing. He also did play by. Well, of course, he's not going to do it in '91, but he did it early in his WWF career. So he can multitask, and Mean Gene didn't care. He did the voiceover. He got a check for it. So anyway, we know the parameters, TW, that they supposed to take a dive, just like boxing, like you said. The Mafia always, says you got to take a dive. Just like, the Mafia says to a basketball player, miss that final shot at the end, so this way we can win a lot of money. Shannon Tweed said you better take a dive, but Piper and Ventura bucked the system, bucked the trend, said F you to Shannon Tweed, and went balls to the wall. What did you think about this match between Piper and Ventura and the Samurai Brothers when you look at it?
Ventura took more bumps in this match than he took his entire career of me watching him. And all I kept thinking is, I thought this guy didn't wrestle because he was afraid of getting cut or something. He took turnbuckles. He took bumps. He took tag team bumps. He took a huge bump on like a clothesline. He took salt to the face. He took, but the best part was he was the hot tag, but like the false hot tag because they took heat on him. And then Piper was the hot tag. Piper to me looked like a little kid. Like this is gonna sound terrible, but I can't think of any way other than describe it. When he gets the hot tag, he almost looks like a Make-A-Wish kid. Like he's happy to be there. Right? It's like, holy shit, I'm tagging in a wrestling match. And,
wait. Let's talk about Piper for a second. His ring attire, because he looked like a deflated Ultimate Warrior with the tassels around his arm and with no war paint. So go ahead, TW. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, and then he's taking heel bumps over the top rope on chops, and then rolls right back in the ring. But I like the gorilla camera, like it's shaking in the arena, like it's like a fan cam or something instead of the actual whatever. And I got to give them credit. I think they were using real footage from a WWE show and then mixing it in with their studio audience, kayfabe, you know. I know that for a commercial my buddy did, they just wall up one wall with the same 50 people and then carbon copy it on all four sides of the ring. So really it's just the same people on all sides of the ring. And I could tell they were cutting to stuff like that, right? Whenever they showed that kid in the locker room who talked shit about Andre the Giant.
Right.
I really dug it, man. I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. And again, I still blown away. It's funny to watch two heels be the babyface, like career heels. Obviously, Piper did some face work after WrestleMania 3, but you know when he came back. But it was a very enjoyable thing. And I forgot to say this when you started the show. I never heard of this until you told me we were watching it. So this is absolutely gold for me. And I hope the 7 people listening to this, maybe there's more because of BigVitoBrand.com. Maybe they'll listen to it. But just go to YouTube, type in Tag Team Pilot, Jesse Ventura and Roddy Piper, comes right up. There's multiple versions of it. But I want to tell you, guess who the girl is in this show? Or do we got to wait till the plot gets to the girl part?
The plot thickens. Wait, let's just focus on the match right now because, again, Piper and Ventura buck the trend. Buck Shannon Tweed's overtures of saying take a dive. They become the new tag team champions of the world, but her husband gives the axe sign. And TW, you know, they win. But how can you, you know, it's funny because they win the match, but then they get barred for life. So how can you explain that for the fans who saw a Ventura and Piper winning this match? How can you explain that?
The same way they explained that the Warrior wasn't going to be at Survivor Series. He helped him up for money, and he's gone now.
Yeah, you know, but these are good guys. So what could they do? You have to excommunicate them, or you have to say that they took money or they stole money from the people. So something had to be said so they could be barred for life. So anyway, now let's get into the second part. Or, you know, because this part, there was kind of like 3 episodes in this 1 hour special pilot, in my humble opinion, Reflectionites. Now they are barred from doing what they love. And now here's where the comedy comes in between Jesse Ventura and Rowdy Roddy Piper, TW. Do you agree with that? Because now, you know, they got to find a way to make money. They got to, you know, they got to pay the rent. And it's funny because, you know, they worked their whole lives, their wrestling careers to get that tag team championship match. So that meant, you know, symbolically, they're going to get paid. They're going to be rich. So they're living together. Right. They're living together in this loft. So they got to pay the rent, TW. So here's where the comedy comes in. They're now piano movers. They're now, you know, self-defense dummies for women who need it. So TW, talk about the strife of these 2 barred wrestlers for life. You know, having to make ends meet. This is like Mickey Rourke in the Wrestler, making ends meet. So this is like life imitating art here. What say you, TW?
So this is where the straight man comes in. Piper's saying all this stuff, and then Jesse says, Yeah, well, how are these two tag team wrestlers going to pay their rent? So he's the serious one, is what I meant by straight man, right?
Okay.
But then this is where he does his one cheesy line where, and again, I referenced earlier, the back play comes in effect later. They're almost all the way to the top flight of this building. And as they're pushing the piano up, Piper's like, hey, I did good last minute. Because he's like, this is the only job you could get us. And then his back locks up on him. And I'm thinking he's dead. Like, this thing's falling on him. He just sidesteps it. It slides down the stairs, goes through a window and a brick wall, falls to the ground to 7 flights, and lands on their moving truck. And I really thought Body was going to say, run, when he said, Roddy, run. That's all I thought he was going to say. Like, it's not their truck, it's not their piano, not their building. Just get the hell out of there. Instead, he says, Roddy, I think we just body slammed the truck, which was terrible. That was a terrible joke. But that was him trying to be the funny guy.
But, you know, when I saw the piano moving part here, TW, I actually thought of you. I had, you know, this is your real. You don't move pianos, Reflection. I see he doesn't do that.
3 lifetime.
Oh, you did, but I thought of you because I'm like, is TW struggling like Ventura and Piper do when he moves furniture or appliances in and out of houses?
Fun fact. I don't deliver since 2005. Everyone still thinks I do. I'm the furniture doctor of thugonomics. I go fix it now.
Oh, okay.
You can't fix that piano when they dropped it, though. So
absolutely
my
not.
My good friend Philly worked for a moving company. He still does. He just doesn't. He's not the mover anymore. And on my days off, I would go work with him, and I did it 4 times. And him and I used to argue all the time. Not argue, but I would tell him he had it worse. He said I had it worse, out of respect, right? He's like, no, our van's got all that heavy furniture. I go, yeah, dude, but I deliver the same dresser every day. It's like we're working out. The first one sucked. Second one's a little easier. By the time you're doing it 2-3 times a day, it's old school. You're just working out with, you know, the same weight. I said, you don't know what you're getting until you get there. So all 4 times I did move with him, there was a piano. So what piano do you think weighs more? The Liberace piano, where the chick lays on it, or that piano that they were carrying in this movie, the upright?
And the one in this movie, because it body slammed the truck.
Right, but you would think that giant piano that they play on like MTV Music Awards and stuff like that would be heavy, but it's not. It actually just stands up and you can roll it on a cart. Those uprights, they got handles built in. So the very first one we went to do, it was him and I and 2 other young guys. I grabbed the handle and I grabbed the front under the keyboard and I lifted it, and I could only lift it 2 inches off the ground. And I just looked across at him, and he looked at me and he goes, hey, Tommy, don't be mad, but I'm going to get one of those young guys to help me. I go, I ain't going to be mad. I go, I'm all right with that. So the first one, him and a young guy carried it up. The second one, he looked at me. We knew we weren't doing that piano. And the 2 young guys, actually, there was only 3 of us that time, and him and the young guy did that one. And it was actually 3, not 4. The third one, it was just me and him, and I had to carry that sumbitch. And I'm telling you, to this day, the heaviest thing I've ever carried in my life is an upright piano. To the point where people have offered them to me, and I said no because I had to pick it up. If they would have delivered it to me, I would have took it, and I'd have learned how to play that sumbitch. But as soon as they said I had to pick it up, I'm like, give it to somebody else because it's that heavy. Plus, I plan on moving at least one more time in my life. I'm not getting a piano until I'm in the house I plan on dying in, because otherwise I'm selling it with the house, because I'm telling you, they are absolutely, and that's the one they have in school. They roll them out for the teacher to play the piano while the kids sing, right? They're ridiculously heavy. So when it busted through that brick wall, the original thought I had was like, it's going to go through the wall. And then I thought, fuck yeah, it would go through the wall because it's that heavy and it's an old building. So, and it's coming down from the top of the stairs full. It would have tumbled before it just slid straight like it did. And P.S. Jesse Ventura would have been knocked over by it because it's big. But yeah, pianos are not for me. And I thought it was a nice touch to add that. It reminded me of just all the different.
No amount of money for TW would pay to move a piano. So
I would become a full-fledged liberal, and I would be getting WIC and food stamps if my only other option was delivering pianos. I would grab my hip like Pookie and Friday and be like, oh, my back.
Oh, my God. Now we found your Achilles heel to turn full-on liberal, a piano. But anyway, now, again, real-life situations, they got to make money, Reflectionites. So, you know what? While they're trying to find the perfect job for both Ventura and Piper, they go shopping with whatever money they have left. And, you know, I guess call it destiny, TW, call it fate, that this particular supermarket was getting robbed by a group of, you know, shopping thieves. They wanted to take the money from the till. They wanted to do everything. And now here comes part due, part redo, what you could say, is now Piper gets in this superhero mode. Now, in real life, you got two ex-wrestlers with no guns, no sticks, no nothing to defend themselves against about 5 dudes with a car, with machine guns, and a rifle.
To be fair, when Piper first intervened, it was one dude that looked like a knockoff of DDP who had a bat.
Okay,
so, I don't think Piper opens his yap if he sees the other guys. And that's what cracked me up, is he beats this guy up and gives him the John Cena finisher onto like a cart of bread. Like why are you taking care of him, man? Put him right on the concrete, right? And then all of a sudden the guy comes around the corner with the shotgun, and you're like, where the heck was this guy hiding? Who's he robbing? The produce guy? Give me a peach. You know, like why he's doing the till with no gun. And then Jesse comes down with the flying burrito from the top of the food can.
The man with spinal stenosis and a bad back jumps off. He did his own stunts. Jesse Ventura and Piper did their own stunts. So this fight scene is like Jackie Chan. They did it themselves, Reflectionites. They didn't need a stunt man. They refused it, but they got massages after it. So they beat the shit out of guys with guns. They actually thwarted 5 guys with guns and a getaway car, TW, and the police come, and they actually thought that they were private eyes. Hence where Piper and Jesse Ventura, actually it was Piper, the light bulb hit Piper in the face saying, oh, damn, we could get paid and become cops. So TW, you know, I would shop. And for me, I would like run into the back in the meat department or whatever, or in the frozen food section, and just try to run and find the back door. What would TW do? Would you be the hero like Jesse Ventura?
If the dude was standing there with a bat robbing her, I would.
Okay.
I think I'd be like, hold up, buddy. You ain't robbing nobody with a bat. I'd have threw some cantaloupe at his ass. You know, just enough. I don't think I would have walked up and said, I'm going to rip your head off your shoulders, but I would have at least distracted him because he had a bat, enough for the girl to run or cops come, whatever the case may be. But then when the Punisher comes around the corner with the shotgun, you're like, what?
Right.
That's where they had Jesse sneak up with the high cross body. And then I think there was only 4 guys. And then when the other 2 guys pop up, they have the worst shot in the history of shooting. They're shooting video game guns that are shotguns, but shoot out fireballs that explode when they hit the produce and everything. And then they do a shopping cart that it hits the car and the car ricochets. It was comedy. But now, not only this is comedy to us in our 2020 Wonder Eyes, but this is, you know, the real life. This is not real life. This is real action from channel, you know, from NBC shows. This is real action from CBS shows. This is real action from ABC. This is why I keep comparing this to Magnum PI and Moonlighting and Remington Steele, like you said, in Vegas. And what was the other show? Hardcastle? Oh, Hardcastle. I don't think I saw that one. But anyway, I'm just saying. But one guy Hardcastle was a judge, and McCormick was a criminal. And he was going to go to jail unless the judge took him under his wing and turned his life around. It was very Magnum PI, where the old man took care of the young man, but it was the judge taking care of a criminal, giving him a second chance.
Right. I'm just saying, you know, but TW, talk about let's give a synopsis of this little action scene before we get into the meat and crust that you wanted to talk about. Did you love the action between Piper and Ventura and the robbers?
Lighthearted. I think they did too much with the two guys in the car and going after them. I think it would have been just good the way he fought the first guy and then Jesse stopped the other guy from shooting him. That would have been a nice little thing. But I guess they really did need to go way over the top for those cops to think, oh, we thought you were cops. And the one guy was a fan. He recognized them and said, no, they're wrestlers. I watch them all the time on TV.
Didn't this remind you like like the wrestler where the guy, recognized Randy the Ram? But this is a different way. You're being recognized for being a hero instead of, being a deli guy. Right, so this is better. This is better for the ego. Because the cop doesn't know that he's down on his luck. The cop doesn't know that he has rent to pay and he has no money.
He doesn't even know he's paying for life. Hasn't aired yet.
Right. So this is actually like the cop actually was an angel, you could say. Right. He gave him purpose. That's the way it looks like in Reflection Night. So now let's get into the meat and crusts of this show, or as I call it, the third part, where they actually joined the police academy. And no Magnificent Seven, no big Vito Whites out there. This is not like Police Academy with Mahoney and Larvell Jones and Tackleberry. This is real Police Academy, TW. They were training to become real cops. Did they look arrogant to you? Did they look like they wanted to succeed? What say you, TW, when you look at their training attributes?
I think they took it serious. I think they made it out like the instructor thought they weren't taking it serious. Like it was just like a jackass type thing before Jackass existed. But I think, obviously Jesse Ventura got his little Navy SEALs nod in there because they asked him where he learned how to shoot like that. And he said Navy SEALs. And then the Piper was like, again, like a Make-A-Wish kid, just happy to be there. Like, this is the best day ever. I got to be a hot tag and I get to be a police officer in training. And I thought it was real well. And the one guy ends up working with him. I recognize him, but I think he was just more of a 90s kind of guy. The black dude that they trip him in the mud during the obstacle course. And he ends up hired as a police officer at that place. That was the thing that cracked me up is they got jobs pretty fast. And then on top of it, their drill instructor was their boss at the new job who also got a job there on the same day because of promotions. Most police academies, you go and then you get out either if like here in Detroit, you have to sign a thing saying you'll be a Detroit cop for at least a year or you got to pay back the training because the training is included in the job. But if you go to a police academy anywhere else, that doesn't mean you're getting a job in Bloomfield Hills or Beverly Hills. And most of the time, you got to work your way up from Detroit to whatever. And I don't even know what city these guys are supposed to be in. Let's argument's sake say it's L.A. Let's say it's Los Angeles. Hollywood here.
And
more holes because there'd be a billion different places to work as a police officer. You know what I mean?
Well, we wouldn't have known because again, we didn't get 13 episodes to at least see the area, see the neighborhoods, and see the city. Like we were supposed to get. So we got gypped.
You know what's funny? They redo everything in Hollywood. Why don't they go back and start redoing the pilots that didn't get picked up? That would be at least something different, right? Like go do tag team again. Get stupid, John Cena and somebody to do it.
I was about to say, if they do tag team again, you can't do Piper. Piper's dead. So, and Jesse Ventura is bald. Yeah, he's 90 and balding and a conspiracy theorist. So
balding on there. What are you talking about? He's got the skullet.
Well, he's got more hair. He's got more hair now. But anyway.
So for me, when I was watching it, it's just campy. It's cheesy. It's 80s, really, even though it's 91. But I can't believe I don't say 90 Wonder. That's where it started. But anyways, but again, redo that show. You know what I mean? There's plenty of ex-wrestlers. You can get Ryback to be one of them. That guy ain't doing nothing. But you know what I mean?
No. You're right. John Cena and somebody else needs to redo tag team. If not a show, at least the movie. At least who?
John Cena and Chavo should do it.
Chavo Guerrero?
Yeah.
You trying to be racist? I'm visually seeing your eyes here.
You gotta have a gay. You gotta have a woman. You gotta have interracial romance between two. I don't pick any two races. That's how it is now. You got to have a gay guy, a woman, interracial romance, and then one black guy, one white guy. That's how every show is now. It's just, if it's a new show, it has to have all the boxes checked. So you need, but Chavo and Cena would be hilarious. Chavo's funny. I meant it as a compliment to Chavo, you bastard. I played Mexican on TV, son of a bitch.
Well, the Big Vitoites don't know this. Now they know. Okay, that's what I'm trying to. You got to explain yourself to the Big Vitoites. But anyway, long story short, Police Academy Tag Team Edition with Ventura and Piper. They passed the test. You know, they defeat all the. You know, they get over the odds here, and they become full-fledged cops. To a degree. Now get to the part where you love this. The meat and the crust of this episode, like the third part of the episode where
we gotta go back a little bit. We got to go back a little bit because this happened in between a couple of the
okay. No, I get you. But again, the meat and the crust of this episode is a female dog walker with like 20 dogs.
Right.
Somehow, one of the dogs gets into this parking lot and she discovers espionage. This is the Pelican Brief. This is, this is Watergate, TW. She discovers, criminality. She discovers, bribery. She discovers, dirty cops. What say you, TW? Because you wanted to talk about this. Of course it is. It always is that part.
I thought it was just the mafia. I didn't know they were dirty cops. So yeah, I was doing other research. But she watches two guys get killed and they take off. And then she goes to the police. She picks them out in the lineup. And now the backstory is the mafia guy put a hit out on her, finds out where she's at. And then, as fate would have it, the two guys who were assigned to watch her have to take Piper and Ventura with them to watch her too.
Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, now let's get into the logistics, because you know me, TW, and Big Vitoites, you're gonna hear this word a lot: continuity, and fluidity. Now, how the hell would you have a witness, a star witness to the mafia, a star witness to dirty cops, a star witness to all this criminal espionage, be given to two guys who just graduated from the police academy? It doesn't work, TW.
That's not what it was. That's not what it was. The two senior cops had it, and they didn't know how to do it. They were just there to learn. They weren't to be the watchers. But we find out, good thing they were there, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. No, but I'm saying, TW, but again, you don't, when you graduate from the police academy, you're learning as you go, but this is a big high-profile case, TW. Right. You just can't do that. That's the way I'm saying it here. I understand what you're talking about.
You got to look at it a different way. Because it's a high-profile case, she's giving them extra help because there's only supposed to be two guys there. Now there's four.
Mm-hmm.
And if those two weren't there, that witness is dead because the other two proved to be incapable.
Right. Again, of course, these are the buffooneries of the bad mafia people. These are the buffooneries of the mob guys, the buffooneries of the muscle men, whatever you want to call this, TW. And now we get into the second part of the great action scenes, you could say, that happens. Because now Ventura and Piper are now protecting the star witness. And I remember one of these scenes in the house. Was it a safe house or was it her house?
No, it was a safe house.
It was a safe house, and of course the bad guys are coming, and now Ventura and Piper have guns, TW. So now the first, the supermarket, they had no guns. Now here, they look like the male version of Charlie's Angels, and they needed a third guy. So that's the way I look at it here. So what say you, TW, about now you got two wrestlers with guns here?
Now, there's two things that Jesse Ventura does in this show to get his shit in, if you will.
Okay.
At the point where they're going to chase those people out of that grocery store, when Piper says, let's go, Jesse says, they have guns. I don't like guns, right? That's one. And in this scene, when that guy is coming around the corner and Piper's on the other side and one of them's going to shoot each other, instead of shooting him, what did Jesse do? Pulled the rug out from underneath him, and then they did tag team moves to him so he didn't have to shoot him. And all I thought is, oh, they'd love that nowadays because You didn't shoot to kill. You took him out the easy way. Whatever. By the way, that would never happen. He'd be dead from Jesse's gun if they were real cops, because it's kill or be killed.
And the funny thing here, TW, because now we could at least skip this, because now they more fights. They fought at the safe house, the gunfight at the safe house, and then the gunfight or the fight at the courthouse. I believe the second fight was at a courthouse.
No, it was a grocery store and then the halfway house.
No. But then the second part was the courthouse or something. After that, I'm just saying, because they were still protecting. But the second fight, they're already cops. But right. Now they're fighting these bad guy mafia guys, but they're incorporating wrestling. They're incorporating tag team wrestling. They're actually tagging each other in to do the moves.
For the show apropos.
Right. They're doing the hot tags, TW, in a fight with the mafia.
Yeah, that fight. To get her into the court. That's right. They got her to the court because Jesse, the straight man, remembered she likes the dog pound. So they went to the dog pound and found her. That's a very good plot fact right there. We're making it to where they don't need to watch the show, by the way. Of course, because we're giving away. No, we're giving away everything. We're giving away the spoilers, big Vitoites, but you have to see it to believe it. It was the hot tag at the courthouse, TW. Let's close it out because, of course, they protect the witness. They find the witness. They find the star witness, like you said, when she, ran away the first time at the safe house. She ran to her dog sanctuary, you could say, and of course got her to the courthouse. All's well that ends well, and of course, they have the bad one-liners. But again, it's all about the hot tag. So anyway, that is the whole synopsis of Tag Team Reflectionites. So what say you, TW? Give your closing thoughts about this show. This is let me ask you this to close it out. I never told you who the girl was.
Who's the girl?
The girl, as soon as I saw her, I thought, man, she's familiar. Then I thought, is she Charlie's Angels? She's not Baywatch? Is she
She's not Baywatch.
Place? She's Gwendolyn Pierce from Charles in Charge. Scott Bale's girlfriend, the little hot blonde on Charles in Charge. She was on every season.
She is?
Yeah. And she also, when they did Brady Bunch sequels and reunion movies in the 80s and 90s,
she was Cindy.
She was Cindy.
She was Cindy. And that didn't work to me. She was the hot one, and the other two...
People were pissed about it, but the girl that played Cindy, for whatever reason, they didn't want to use her, or she didn't want to do it. But so that girl played Cindy.
Yeah. Cindy didn't want to do it because she wanted to be a well-trained actress, you could say. She wanted to be taken serious. So anyway, but now TW.
To think about though.
What?
That girl's name is Jennifer Runyon in real life. And so I looked into it because I had to figure out why I knew who she was. And then when I saw Cindy Brady, I'm like, there's no freaking way I'd remember that, right? And then
I remember that.
Down the IMDb. No, as soon as I read it, I was like, yeah. But then I was like, but there's more. So I kept reading down. And as soon as I saw Gwendolyn Pierce and Charles in Charge, I'm like, that's it. Because she's beautiful.
That's one I didn't know. That's the one I forgot about. I knew the Cindy Brady one.
What year she born in?
With that age and Charles in Charge, 62.
60. That makes her this year 61 years old. That hurts me. It hurts.
She's a gilf. She's probably a gilf right now. So anyway,
61.
Well, again, let's close this out, TW. I'm going to ask you this question for all the Reflectionites and the big Vitoites out there. So you should see this show. You should see Tag Team on YouTube with Piper and Ventura. But let me ask you this question. Again, take away the 2020 Wonder Eyes.
Right.
Was this an untapped potential kind of show for the 90s? Could it have survived the litigation drama? Could it have made it at least, let's say, 5 years? Could it have made it?
I think this show, it's an Achilles heel for it. It's an 80s show in 91. That's what I think holds it back, right?
Oh,
I think at the end of the day, if this show come out in 85, it's going 85 to 92. It's easily going 7 years, right? But because it's an 80s show in the 90s, it makes it a little harder to do. But it is gritty and grainy. It's not flamboyant like the 80s. So you don't have all the bright pinks and the bright, the spandex and everything. But what I would say is, if we're going to compare it, is it better than Thunder in Paradise? Absolutely. Because I would Thunder in Paradise to me always came off as a knockoff of Baywatch. The acting was terrible. The very beginning of this, I thought the acting was terrible, but the more I watched it, the more into it I got, and the more it was just Piper Ventura on TV, right? And I didn't mind the drill sergeant. Like, I wish I could remember that black dude's name, because I remember him in stuff in the 90s, probably even an episode of Seinfeld or something. But that dude was in a lot of stuff, and I recognize him. Just a real good cast. And I'm almost certain when they were at the shooting range, I saw John Amos. He was walking towards checking on people shooting. So I'm like, oh, John Amos is on here. And then he just turned, and then it kept going, and then the girl started talking to him. So I'm like, either that was a John Amos lookalike, or that's Mr. Evans, for those who don't know from Good Times. But and also, by the way, as a kid,
the black dude was Phil Lewis, who played Ray Tyler,
which is also the name of the singer from LA Guns. But anyways, John Amos, when he died on Good Times, I thought he died in real life. So years later, I think he was in a Bruce Willis movie, and he turned on Bruce Willis. Like he was
Die Hard 2.
The military, yeah. And when I saw him, I thought, what the fuck? I'm like, Mr. Evans is alive? I didn't even know, because I thought he really died in real life. And so when I saw him, I was happy to see him in that movie, and then mad that he turned heel. But yeah, and he was killed off of Good Times because contract dispute. He wanted more money. They're like, oh yeah, bye, and they killed him off. But yeah, so I think this movie show, it's considered a movie on IMDb, by the way, since it was only one and it was an hour long. And you must have watched the same thing I did, because you're quoting a lot of it or you read about it. But I feel bad for Piper that it didn't get picked up. And Ventura said that if it got picked up, he doesn't think he goes on to be the governor. Because when it didn't get picked up, that's when he went on to become the mayor of Minnesota, and that led to him becoming governor. And Piper said, brother, he goes, this would have sent our lives on different directions. He goes, mine for the better, yours, I don't know, because you got it together to become the governor of a state.
Well, you know what, TW, Piper really is if this show happened and this show was a success, he wouldn't have to replace his hip. He would have had maybe a longer lasting life, you could say. So TW, I mean, he would have been great. He would have been the Hollywood actor. He would have been the Hollywood star. Jesse Ventura, yeah, we might have missed out on him being the governor, and hopefully he could have been the next president of the United States. But that's just me. Go ahead, TW. Let's close this out.
Like I said, I really feel bad for Piper, because I think it would have changed his life for the better, because I don't think They Live holds up to how we saw it in 87, 88. I think when we saw They Live the first time, I don't think we expected much because of No Holds Barred. You know what I mean? Like, right. I remember really thinking No Holds Barred is going to be awesome, and then going in there thinking it wasn't awesome. It was great because it was Hulk Hogan, but it wasn't awesome. And maybe that was after Piper. But with Piper's, I think there was a bit of nervousness, like, oh, I hope he doesn't embarrass himself, or I hope he doesn't do this. And it was just way better than you would expect it to be. And I've just never understood why he never really took off in Hollywood. And I remember that show, him having a buzz because of that movie. Like, people were thoroughly impressed with him. And again, when we did the show, he wasn't that great at acting. He read one-liners where it's almost like today's wrestling where someone else wrote it, not him, right? Whereas like Vince Vaughn, every word coming out of his mouth, Vince Vaughn is ad-libbing, because that's just what he does, and a lot of comedians these days. So for Piper, I really think this show, and it sounds like it was getting picked up, and it sounds like it was going to be on NBC, not TNT or TBS or I mean, these days you put something on AMC and it's a hit. But
this was going to be NBC's Saturday night action thriller kind of hour. I
think, and those guys were both adamant that it was going to be a hit, and I think it would have been, because I think in '91. Oh, and also we didn't notice there was a scene where Piper said he's going to fail the test, and Ventura got up and quizzed him on wrestling statistics, and he just fired them all off, and he said, tallest wrestler in the business, Andre the Giant, 7'4". Heaviest wrestler, Haystacks Calhoun, 6'08". What's your point? He goes, most popular wrestlers right now. He goes, Hogan, Warrior, Jake the Snake. And I thought that was a nice nod to them, which is another sign. He didn't say Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson. So
right.
you could tell there was some WWE behind it. Which, by the way, I just watched a movie the other day called Buddy Games. Have you heard of it?
No, I didn't hear that.
It's actually a pretty good movie. And when I bought it for like $6.99 because to rent it was $4.99. And I had a buddy say it was great. It's not great. It's watchable. But it's produced by WWE Films. But there's no WWE wrestlers or anything in it. It's just all comedians and actors that I know every one of them that's in it except for one. But it's a good show. But anyways, in hindsight, I wish Piper would have had it picked up. I mean, maybe we miss out on a lot of things, but Piper had a look to be a draw in Hollywood. Not so much Ventura. Ventura had the look to be the sidekick in Predator, to be, whatever. Like another guy who I thought was good in movies was Terry Funk in Roadhouse. He didn't come across as a wrestler in a movie. He came across as a bouncer at a bar. I think that's a good.
Well, let me end this with a conspiratorial thing. Maybe Vince McMahon kind of not blackballed, but kind of like put the kibosh on what could have been with what this show is called Tag Team. And we'll end it here for all the Big Vitoites out there. Thank you. Thank you to the Big Vitoites. Thank you to Big Vito himself for allowing us to come on the platform and bring you this nostalgia. So TW, give out all those social medias. And of course, again, thank you to Big Vito Brand. .com, Big Vito Brand on Patreon, BigVitoBrand.wixsite.com. TW, give out all those socials again. And even repeat the Big Vito ones. And
then you got Patreon.com/the Big Vito Brand. If you want to check that out. And then obviously you just said it, BigVitoBrand.wixsite, WIXSITE.com. That's another one where you can see all his happenings and probably stuff on this podcast network. And then ours on Twitter is at PW Reflection. Then you have me on Twitter at TommyWonder19 is my one where I usually get political. At the Tommy Wonder is the one I get wrestling, and pop culture stuff. My Instagram's TommyWonder19, and my Facebook is Facebook.com/Tommy Wonder. And then of course, our producer, the big man at Big Ray's Ministry for Big Ray.
And of course, I'm at I'm at PWHustle Prof. That is PWHustle Prof. I was, barred. I was censured by the Republicans, but you can't deny the independent superstar like the professor. PWHustle Prof. And of course, shout outs to my brothers of the PWHustle, Billy Ray Valentine at Obi-Wan, you know me, and of course, 8-Track Round the Dirtiest of the City at 8-Track Dastardly. I don't know what we're going to do next time, TW. We might go to the movies. We might do Greatest Rivalries. We might do a wrestling spotlight. What you got?
An idea. You started this show off saying we're going to go to the movies a lot. I don't know how we're going to find it. I think we should do an episode of Learning the Ropes.
I will find it.
With Bob Golick and I can't remember who plays him under the most.
It's not Bob Golick. It's no, it's Lyle Alzado.
Well, Bob Golick's on it with him.
But it's Lyle Alzado who started and who was the wrestler in the mask. But we'll talk about that. I will find it for you. Trust me.
I want to say Bob Golick.
You want to make a bet?
Also on Save the College.
You know what, Reflection Nights, we're making a bet right now. And when I win this bet on the next episode of PWR Goes to the Movies, TW will bow down to the professor and vote for Joe Biden again. That's what it is. But anyway, we might do Learning the Ropes, but you know what? We'll stay tuned, Reflection Nights. Stay tuned. But for that, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful Tommy Wonder, aka the Iron Stomach, and of course, remember his YouTube Dum Dum Duo. Is that right again?
Dum Dum Duo. Oh yeah, the Dum Dum Duo and an Idiot. Yeah, please go there, like, subscribe, share. We do stupid things. We're doing another one Thursday, so by the time this airs, you'd probably be able to check that newest video on there. We're basically doing our own version of the hot ones. We got all the sauces lined up. We're gonna be dummies for that, but we've done the Gummy Bear Challenge, the One Chip Challenge. We've done the Death Nut Challenge. We ate a bunch of chicken nuggets on the last one. That was a race. No hot sauce on that one. We did White Castle sliders with the roulette wheel to figure out which hot sauce we were going to land on. And funny enough, each hot sauce, when I ate it, I was like, well, that tastes like the Death Nut. And that tastes like the Gummy Bear. And that tastes like the one chip challenge. So I've obviously been doing this long enough that I'm dumb enough to know what the different hot sauces taste like and can recognize them on the burn. But dumb doing an idiot.
All right. See, I'm always shouting out your show. You're forgetting your own damn show because of your stomach right now. But anyway,
I got recognized by someone when I went to do my regular job as a furniture repair guy. The guy looks at me and goes, "Hey man, I got a question." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "Are you the idiot?" I go, "Why, yes I am. How the heck would you know that?" He goes, "I watch your dumb and an idiot videos all the time. You guys are hilarious." And side note, I didn't say this on the Facebook post. The guy is an acquaintance of my buddy Matt that does it with me, with his girl Stacy. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't think Matt will remember me," but Matt did. They were in a bowling league, and that guy substituted a couple times, and that's how they met. So he knew him from seeing the posts on Facebook, but it still was a funny story that he recognized me. So especially with a mask on.
You are a celebrity in the making. So with that being said, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful, the Iron Stomach, Tommy Wonder saying good night, and see you next time to the Big Vitoites and to the Reflectionites. Peace.
I think we body slammed the truck.
Yes, we did.